Valerian had once been the heart of a kingdom that refused to bow. Now it was a grave. Ash drifted through the broken arches like falling snow, settling over shattered marble and charred banners. The great stained-glass windows, once alive with color, were nothing but jagged shadows, their stories erased by fire. At the center of it all stood a king, Alric of Valerian, or what remained of him. His armor was cracked and blackened, barely clinging to his body. Dried blood, his and others, painted him in the memory of battle. The sword in his hand dragged against the stone as he walked, its once proud edge dulled by war. Each step echoed too loudly, because there was no one left to hear it. 3 days ago, the war had ended, not with victory, but with silence. The Northern Alliance had fallen first, then the Eastern cities. One by one, the kingdoms of men were crushed beneath an enemy no one fully understood, an empire that moved like a storm and burned like divine judgment. Valerian had been the last to fall, and Alric had been the last to stand. He stopped before what used to be his throne. The great seat of carved stone lay split in half, as if struck by the hand of a god. The golden crest of his bloodline, once mounted proudly above it, had melted into an unrecognizable shape. He stared at it for a long time. Then, slowly, his sword slipped from his fingers and clattered to the ground. I failed. The words barely left his lips. He had not spoken since the final battle. Not when the gates broke. Not when the city burned. Not even when he found them. His queen. His son. Still. Cold. Gone. Alric's knees gave out, and he fell heavily onto the cracked stone floor. His breath came unevenly now, like something inside him had finally broken loose. "I was supposed to protect you," he whispered. But there was no answer. There would never be an answer again. The silence pressed in on him, suffocating, endless. And for the first time, since he had taken the crown, Alric did not know what to do. A king without a kingdom. A father without a child. A man with nothing left to fight for. His gaze drifted across the ruined chamber, searching for anything at all, that still mattered. That was when he saw it, half buried beneath fallen stone and ash, near the base of the shattered throne. Something glimmered faintly. At first, he thought it was just another piece of broken gold, but something about it felt wrong, different. He pushed himself up, ignoring the protest of his body, and stumbled toward it. Each step was slow, heavy, until he stood over it. It was not gold. It was an egg, smooth, black, perfectly untouched by the destruction around it. It should have been cracked, burned, destroyed like everything else. But it wasn't. Alric crouched beside it, his brow furrowing. Carefully, almost hesitantly, he brushed away the ash that covered its surface. The moment his fingers touched it, warmth, not the fading warmth of dying embers, but something alive, steady, pulsing. His breath caught. No, the old stories, whispered back to him, tales told in childhood, dismissed as myths in adulthood, of dragons, of creatures older than kingdoms, of eggs hidden away when the gods themselves had grown fearful. Alric let out a hollow laugh. A dragon egg? Here, now. It felt like a cruel joke, the kind fate played on broken men. "What good are you to me?" he murmured. His voice cracked. "I couldn't even save my own people." The egg remained silent in his hands, yet the warmth didn't fade. If anything, it grew stronger. He hesitated. Then slowly, he lifted it. It was heavier than it looked. Solid. Real. For a moment, something flickered deep inside him. Not hope. No, that was gone. But something close to it. Something fragile. Dangerous. "What are you doing?" he whispered to himself. He should have left it. Should have walked away. There was nothing left in this world worth holding on to. And yet, his grip tightened, because for the first time since everything ended, he wasn't holding a weapon. He was holding something that wasn't broken. Alric staggered back to the center of the throne room, cradling the egg, like it might shatter if he let go. Then slowly, he sank to his knees. The weight of everything came crashing down at once. The war, the loss, the emptiness. "I'm so tired," he breathed. The words trembled. And then, he broke. Tears fell freely now, unrestrained, cutting through the ash on his face as they dropped onto the smooth surface of the egg. "I didn't save them." A tear struck the shell. "I couldn't protect anyone." Another. What kind of king am I? His voice shattered completely. What kind of king survives when everything he loved is gone? Silence answered him. But the egg changed. At first, it was subtle, a faint glow beneath the surface. Then, a crack. Alric froze. His breath stopped. Another crack followed, sharper this time, spreading like lightning across the black shell. The glow intensified, golden, blinding, unnatural. The air shifted. The ruins trembled. Something ancient stirred in the world beyond sight. Alric stared down at the egg in his trembling hands. No way. The crack spread faster now, branching alive. Light poured out from within, and for the first time since the fall of his kingdom, King Alric felt something stronger than grief. Fear. The egg split open, and something inside began to wake. The egg did not simply break. It unmade itself. The cracks that spread across its surface did not shatter outward like fragile shell. They folded, peeled, and dissolved into drifting fragments of black and gold light, as if the egg had never truly been solid to begin with. Alric stumbled backward, shielding his eyes as brilliance flooded the ruined throne room. Heat surged out.
These chains cannot hold me!
He's free!
Heavy, ancient, alive. The very air seemed to bow under its presence. The shattered stones beneath him trembled, not from force, but from something deeper. Something older than the castle, older than the kingdom, older than him. The light intensified, blinding, absolute, until the world itself seemed to disappear. Then, silence. The glow faded, and something stood where the egg had been. At first, Alric couldn't understand what he was seeing. It was small, smaller than he expected, about the size of a hunting hound. Its body was sleek, shaped like a dragon, but not quite. Its limbs were longer, its frame more refined, almost deliberate, as if it had been designed, not born. Its scales were black, not the dull black of stone or ash, but a deep, endless black, like the void between stars. And beneath those scales, light moved. Thin veins of molten gold pulsed slowly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Alric felt it before he even realized what it was. Each pulse echoed faintly in his chest, like something inside him was responding. The creature lifted its head and opened its eyes. Alric froze. They were not the eyes of a beast. There was no confusion, no instinct, no wildness, only awareness, ancient, unfathomable, and focused. On him, the creature stared at him in complete silence. Then, "You cried." The words were not spoken aloud. They appeared in his mind, clear, calm, undeniable. Alric staggered back, nearly losing his footing. "What?" His voice sounded small, fragile. "What are you?" The creature tilted its head slightly, studying him. There was no hostility in the motion, but no warmth either, only curiosity. It paused, not as if searching for words, but as if deciding which truth to give. Uncertain. Alric swallowed hard, his pulse racing. "That's not an answer." The creature took a single step forward. The sound of its claws against the stone was soft, but each movement carried weight far beyond its size. "I remember being bound." Another step. "I remember being sealed." The air grew colder, heavier. "I remember." Its golden veins brightened. "Being feared." Alric felt a chill run through him. Feared by who? The creature's gaze lifted slightly, as if looking beyond the ruined ceiling, beyond the sky itself. By those who call themselves gods. The word echoed strangely, not with reverence, but with something closer to contempt. Alric's breath caught. "That's impossible." The creature's eyes snapped back to him. "No." A faint pressure pushed against him. Not physical, but something deeper, like the weight of its certainty pressing into his thoughts. "What is impossible is that I was meant to remain forgotten." Silence stretched between them. Alric's mind struggled to catch up. A dragon, no. Something worse. Something sealed by gods. And now, standing in front of him, awake, because of him. "You said," Alric's voice wavered. "You said I woke you." The creature studied him again. This time, something softer flickered in its gaze. "You did." "How?" "You grieved." The answer was simple. Too simple. Alric shook his head. "That doesn't make any sense." The creature stepped closer. close enough now that Alric could see the faint shimmer of energy moving beneath its scales. Your sorrow was not small. Its voice, still inside his mind, was quieter now, but vast. Another step. It carried loss. Another. And love. It stopped directly in front of him. And something else. Alric felt his breath hitch. What a... The creature reached out a claw. Not fast. Not threatening. Slow. Deliberate. It pressed the tip gently against the center of his chest. The moment it touched him, everything changed. A surge of energy shot through him. Not painful, but overwhelming. Images flickered in his mind. Things he didn't understand. Endless skies. Burning stars. Falling gods. A voice, his voice, echoing in a place that had no beginning and no end. Then, it stopped. Alric gasped, stumbling backward. What was that? The creature withdrew its claw. Recognition. Alric stared at it, shaken. That wasn't recognition, that was... He didn't have a word for it, because it hadn't felt like seeing something new. It had felt like remembering something he was never meant to know. You are... The creature paused again. Not uncertain, but thoughtful. Unexpected. Alric let out a hollow laugh. Yeah, I get that a lot. But his voice lacked conviction, because deep down, he knew. This wasn't normal. None of this was. The creature took another step closer. Now, there was no distance between them. You were the first thing I saw. Alric frowned. What? When I woke. Its golden veins pulsed brighter. You were there. It lowered its head slightly. And so, for the first time, there was something in its voice. Not cold, not distant, but certain. You are mine. The words hit harder than anything else it had said. Alric's eyes widened. I'm what? Before he could react, something ignited between them. A force. A bond. It wasn't visible, but he felt it, deep in his chest, like a thread had been tied between his soul and something far, far greater. Ancient, unbreakable. He dropped to one knee, gasping as the sensation settled into place. What did you do to me? He whispered. The creature watched him calmly. I did not create it. It tilted its head. I only acknowledged it. Alric clenched his fists, trying to steady himself. This isn't normal. No. The creature turned slightly, glancing toward the sky beyond the shattered throne room. Nor is what comes next. Alric followed its gaze. The clouds above the ruined city had begun to move, not with wind, but with purpose, spiraling, darkening. The light of the sun dimmed as something vast shifted beyond sight. Alric felt it immediately. A presence. Heavy. Judging. Watching. What is that? He asked quietly. The creature's golden eyes narrowed. They have noticed. Alric's stomach dropped. Who? The creature looked back at him. And for the first time, there was no softness at all. Only truth. The ones who sealed me. A distant rumble echoed across the sky. Not thunder. Something worse. They are coming. And far above the world, the heavens began to open. The sky did not darken. It closed. What little sunlight remained above the ruined city of Valyrian was swallowed whole, as if something vast had moved between the world and the heavens themselves. The spiraling clouds tightened into a massive vortex, silent and unnatural. No wind, no thunder, just pressure. Alric felt it immediately. It pressed against his chest, his lungs, his thoughts. Like the world itself had grown heavier. He staggered slightly, but forced himself upright. They're already here, he murmured. Beside him, the creature stood still, its golden veins pulsing brighter with each passing second. They were always watching, it said calmly. The air trembled. Then, the sky split open, not with lightning, but with light. 3 immense pillars of radiant gold tore through the clouds, descending slowly toward the earth, beyond the shattered walls of the castle. They did not fall. They arrived, deliberate and absolute. The ground shook with each moment they drew closer. Stone cracked. Dust rose. Even the ruins of Valyrian seemed to bow. Alric's instinct screamed at him to run, to hide, to kneel. But he didn't. He couldn't, because behind him stood something worse. Or perhaps something more. Stay behind me, he said quietly. The words came out before he could stop them. The creature tilted its head. You believe you can protect me? Alric tightened his jaw. No, he admitted, but I can stand. Silence followed. Then, unexpectedly, the creature moved. Not behind him, but beside him. Equal. Its presence surged, the golden light beneath its scales brightening until it cast long shadows across the broken throne room. You choose defiance, it observed. Alric let out a breath. I don't have anything left to lose. The creature glanced at him. That is why you are dangerous. The first pillar of light touched the ground beyond the castle walls. Impact. The entire city shook. A shockwave rolled outward, flattening what little remained standing. Ash and debris were thrown into the air as if reality itself had been struck. The second followed. Then the third. 3 impacts. 3 presences. Alric felt them fully now. Not just power. Authority. Ancient. Unquestionable. Overwhelming. A voice echoed from beyond the ruined gates. It did not travel through air. It existed everywhere at once. You have broken the seal. Alric's breath hitched. The creature did not respond. The voice continued, colder now. That which was bound beyond time has been returned. A figure emerged from the nearest pillar of light. Humanoid. Tall. Perfect. Its form was composed of radiant gold, yet its edges flickered like something too vast to fully exist in one shape. Its eyes burned like twin suns, fixed instantly on the creature beside Alric. The pressure intensified. Alric dropped to one knee, then forced himself back up. You, the being said, its voice echoing across reality itself. You were not meant to awaken. The creature's gaze sharpened. I was not meant to be forgotten. The temperature dropped, not physically, but existentially, like the world itself held its breath. The second and third figures stepped forward, emerging from their own pillars of light. Each carried the same unbearable presence, their forms slightly different, but equally divine. 3 gods, standing upon the ruins of a broken kingdom, and they were not here for it. Their attention fell entirely on the creature. You remember, one of them said. The creature's golden veins flared. I remember betrayal. The word struck like a blade. The air cracked. Alric felt it in his bones, in his soul. This was not a conversation. This was history resurfacing, and it was not a peaceful one. The first god lifted its hand slightly. The sky above them responded instantly, splitting further to reveal something vast beyond, a shimmering expanse of blinding light that felt endless. You were sealed for a reason. The creature took a step forward. So were truths you chose to hide. The ground beneath them fractured. A low, distant hum began to build. The god's attention shifted. Not fully, but enough. Toward Alric. And you. The words hit him like a physical force. He locked his legs in place, refusing to fall. Mortal. The word dripped with insignificance. You have interfered in matters beyond your existence. Alric swallowed, his heart pounding. Yeah, he said hoarsely. Wouldn't be the first time. The gods did not react, but the pressure increased. Step aside. The command was absolute. Reality itself seemed to bend to enforce it. Alric's body trembled. Every instinct screamed at him to obey, to kneel, to submit, to survive. But instead, he stepped forward. One step, then another, until he stood slightly ahead of the creature. No, the word was quiet, but it echoed, not through sound, through will. For a fraction of a second, everything paused, even the gods. You would defy us for that? One of them asked. Alric glanced back at the creature. It stood silently, watching him, not commanding, not forcing, just waiting. He turned back. It's not that, he said, his voice steadier now. It's mine. The moment the words left his mouth, the bond ignited. A surge of power erupted between them, invisible yet undeniable. Golden light flared along the creature's body, responding instantly. The air cracked. The ground split further. And the gods paused, not out of confusion, but recognition. That bond, one of them said slowly. That should not be possible. The creature's voice echoed, calm and absolute. It is. The sky darkened further. The divine light intensified. The 3 gods raised their hands in unison. The world screamed. Then it will be undone. Power gathered above them, Vast, overwhelming final. Alric felt it immediately. This was not a warning, not a threat. This was erasure.
Rise,
Complete.
Wasantha!
Absolute. He took a slow breath. Hey, he muttered quietly. The creature glanced at him. Yes. Alric gave a faint, tired smile. You got any idea how we survived this? The creature looked up at the descending light, then back at him. And for the first time, it answered honestly. No. Alric nodded. Good. The creature blinked. Because neither do I. He stepped forward anyway. And above them, the heavens began to fall. The heavens did not strike all at once. They descended. Slowly. Inevitably. Like a judgment that had already been decided. Above the shattered ruins of Valyrian, the sky peeled open completely, revealing a vast, blinding expanse of divine light. It stretched endlessly, swallowing the horizon, replacing the world with something cold, perfect, and merciless. At its center, a weapon formed. Not a blade, not fire, but something far worse. A convergence of pure existence, condensed, sharpened, and aimed. Alric felt it immediately. Every instinct, every fragment of survival buried in his bones screamed at him. This is the end. He exhaled slowly. Yeah, he muttered. Figures. Beside him, the creature stood unmoving, its golden veins blazing now like flowing magma beneath its black scales. The light above reflected in its eyes, not with fear, but recognition. They intend to erase this moment, it said. Alric glanced at it. Just this moment. A pause. No. The creature's gaze lifted. They intend to erase everything connected to it. Alric let out a breath that almost sounded like a laugh. Of course they do. Above them, the divine weapon completed itself. The air collapsed inward. Sound vanished. Even time seemed to hesitate. The three gods stood beneath it, their forms blazing brighter, their voices merging into one overwhelming command. Return to nothing. The weapon fell. It didn't streak. It didn't crash. It simply arrived. A column of absolute light descended toward them, silent, unstoppable, final. Alric stepped forward, not because he thought it would help, but because standing still felt worse. Well, he said quietly, this is it. The creature didn't respond. For a heartbeat, it only watched the descending annihilation. Then, it moved. Not backward, not away, but forward, until it stood directly beside him, their shoulders nearly touching. You choose to remain, it observed. Alric gave a faint shrug. Didn't come this far to run at the end. The creature studied him. Something changed in its gaze. Not softness, not quite, but something closer to understanding. You are inefficient, it said. Alric smirked faintly. Yeah, I've been told. The light above them expanded, consuming everything in its path. The ruins, the air, even the distant horizon began to dissolve as it approached. Alric raised an arm instinctively, as if that would somehow matter. Any last ideas? He asked. The creature's golden veins pulsed brighter. No. Alric nodded. All right then. He lowered his arm and took one more step forward. If this is how it ends. His voice steadied. Then we ended standing. The creature watched him. Then, it inhaled. Not like a beast. Not like something living, but like something remembering how to exist. The world reacted instantly. The ground beneath them cracked open, spreading outward in jagged lines. The air twisted, folding in on itself as invisible forces collided. The golden light within the creature surged, then exploded outward. A barrier formed. Not a dome, not a wall, but a presence. Something that refused. The descending divine weapon struck it, and for the first time, something impossible happened. It stopped. The impact didn't shatter the ground, didn't destroy the world. It collided with resistance. The light fractured, cracked, like glass meeting something harder than itself. The gods recoiled. That is not possible, one of them said. The creature stepped forward. Its voice echoed, not just in Auric's mind, but across the battlefield itself. He is under my protection. The words carried weight, not emotional, not symbolic, but absolute. Reality bent around them. Auric felt it surge through him, a flood of strength that wasn't his own. His body steadied, his breath evened, and for a fleeting moment, he felt like more than human. Guess that makes two of us, he muttered. The divine weapon above them pulsed violently, struggling against the unseen force, holding it back. The gods raised their hands again. Then both will be erased. The sky screamed. The weapon intensified, its light burning brighter, compressing further. Alric looked up at it, then back at the creature. "Can you hold it?" he asked. The creature didn't answer immediately. Its gaze remained fixed on the weapon, calculating, measuring. Then, "No." Alric let out a slow breath. "Good." The creature glanced at him. "Good. Yeah," Alric said. "Because I can't either." A brief silence passed between them. Then, Alric stepped forward, beyond the edge of the barrier. The creature's eyes widened slightly. "What are you doing?" Alric didn't stop. "If we're going down." He rolled his shoulders, ignoring the strain. "We might as well make it count." The moment he crossed the barrier, the divine pressure hit him full force. His body screamed. His vision blurred. His knees nearly buckled. But he didn't fall. He took another step, then another. Behind him, the creature watched. Something unfamiliar flickered within it. Not confusion, not fear, but something close to choice. Then, it moved. The barrier collapsed, not shattered, but released, as it surged forward to stand beside him once more. The golden light around it intensified, now unstable, wild. "You are making a mistake," it said. Alric laughed weakly. "Yeah, it wouldn't be the first." He looked up at the descending annihilation. "Let's just make a big one." For a moment, everything slowed. The gods, the light, the world, all of it seemed to pause, as if reality itself waited to see what would happen next. Then, the creature roared. Not like a dragon, not like any living thing, but like something that existed before sound itself. Power erupted, uncontrolled, unrestrained, unforgiven. The ground shattered completely. The sky cracked. The divine weapon above them fractured, its perfect form splintering under the pressure of something it could not define. The gods stepped back. For the first time, they moved. Not forward, not in dominance, but away. And in that moment, for the first time in eternity, the gods felt something they had long since forgotten. Fear. When the light faded, there was no sound, no wind, no echo. The battlefield, if it could still be called that, was gone. Not destroyed, not burned. Gone, as if the world itself had been wiped clean and rewritten in silence. Alric lay on his back, staring into an empty sky. It was no longer torn open. No divine light. No endless void. Just sky. Still. Quiet. For a long moment, he didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't think. Then, air rushed into his lungs. He gasped sharply, coughing as pain flooded back into his body all at once. Every muscle screamed. Every bone felt like it had been shattered and reforged. "I'm alive," he rasped. The words felt foreign, uncertain. Slowly, carefully, he turned his head and saw it. The creature stood a few steps away, unharmed, unshaken, changed. It was no longer the size of a hound. It had grown taller now, its form more defined, more complete. Its wings, once small and folded, now stretched outward in silent majesty, their edges lined with faint golden light that shimmered like distant stars. The veins beneath its obsidian scales burned brighter than ever. Not wild, not unstable, controlled, focused, alive. Alric pushed himself up onto one elbow, wincing. "You're still here," he said. The creature turned its head slowly. Its golden eyes met his. "I told you." Alric let out a weak laugh. "Yeah, I guess you did." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't heavy this time. It wasn't suffocating. It was still, like the world had finally stopped screaming. Alric forced himself to sit up fully, glancing around. The ruins of Valyrian were gone. Not restored, not rebuilt, just absent. The ground stretched outward in smooth, untouched stone, as if the destruction had never happened, as if none of it had ever existed. His chest tightened. "My kingdom," he whispered. The creature followed his gaze. "It is gone." The words were simple, not cruel, not gentle, just true. Alric lowered his head slightly. Yeah, there was no anger left in him, no grief sharp enough to break him, only something quieter, something deeper, Acceptance. After everything, after losing everything, he was still here. And somehow, that mattered. A soft shift of air drew his attention back. The creature moved closer, its massive form now casting a long shadow over him. It lowered itself slightly, not in submission, but in acknowledgement. You survived. Alric looked up at it. Pretty sure that was mostly you. The creature tilted its head. No. Its voice was steady. It was us. Alric blinked, then huffed a quiet laugh. Yeah, I guess it was. Silence returned again, but this time, it felt different. Not empty. Full. Like something new had taken root, where everything else had been lost. After a moment, Alric spoke again. So he said slowly, "You gonna tell me what you actually are now?" The creature was quiet for a long time. Its gaze drifted upward, toward the now empty sky. Then back to him. "I am what they feared." Alric frowned slightly. That's not very specific. The creature's golden veins pulsed softly. "I am not bound by what they created." It stepped closer, nor by what they destroyed. Alric studied it. "You mean the gods?" The creature didn't answer directly. It didn't need to. Alric exhaled slowly. "They're gone, aren't they?" A pause. Then, "Yes." The word echoed differently. Not triumphant, not proud. Final. Alric leaned back slightly, staring at the sky again. Huh, that was all he said. No grand reaction. No disbelief. Just a quiet acknowledgement of something too large to fully understand. After a moment, he let out a breath. "So what now?" he asked. "No kingdom. No people. No gods." He glanced at the creature. "Just us." The creature looked at him, and for the first time, there was something unmistakable in its gaze. Not power, not distance, but choice. "Then we build." Alric raised an eyebrow. "Build what?" The creature's wings shifted slightly, catching the light. Something new. It paused. Something not ruled by fear. Alric stared at it, then laughed softly. "You make that sound easy." "It will not be." "Good," Alric said. "I'd be worried if it was." He pushed himself to his feet, unsteady but standing. For the first time since everything fell, he stood without the weight of a crown, without the burden of expectation. Just himself. He looked at the creature. "Guess I'm not a king anymore." The creature regarded him for a moment, then said, "You never were." Alric blinked. "Wow, that's harsh." The creature stepped closer. "You were something else." Alric frowned. "Yeah, like what?" The creature's golden eyes burned softly. "Someone who chose to stand when nothing remained." It tilted its head slightly. "That is far rarer than a king." Alric didn't respond immediately, because for once, he didn't have a reply. He just nodded. Slowly. "All right," he said. Then he looked out at the empty world before them. "Let's see what we can build." The creature unfolded its wings fully now, vast and radiant, casting light across the silent land. And for the first time, Alric didn't feel like he was standing at the end of something, but at the beginning.